The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida attorney Joseph Bryan. Listen for the next hour as attorney Joseph Bryan informs you on different legal topics. Whether you are considering bankruptcy or dealing with mortgage or debt issues, Joe can help you. Knowledge is power. Don't fear the unknown. Get answers to your burning legal questions now. So call in and ask attorney Joseph Bryan to answer your questions. 888-565-1470. And now, here's attorney Joseph Bryan.
Yeah, good day. Hope you all enjoying the traffic. If you're not out there in the traffic, well, sit back and relax. If you want, you can listen to us live on the internet at wwnnradio.com. Or you can give us a call in if you have any questions here today. This is the People's Advocate. We're here to answer your legal questions. You can call us in at toll-free 888-565-1470. And I'm here for you. You know, a gentleman came in to see me today, but I was getting ready to come talk to you guys on the show here today. But he had, well, I need some advice on asset protection. And it was like, I'm thinking about, you know, there's so many things to do. It's sort of like prophylactics. There's so many different sizes, shapes, colors, and flavors. Asset protection is a misnomer. The asset protection, especially in America today, is beginning to go the way of yesteryear. Asset protection is being taken away from you. You know, July 1st of this year, if you have a bank account for which you are the beneficiary of, you have signing powers. It's yours. It's one of your companies. You have to notify the IRS, and if you don't notify the IRS, the penalties and the interest and all the other lovely things, including possible jail time, is coming at you fast. Their goal is to find out where your money is. They want to know what the highest amount that account has ever been and the lowest amount that has ever been. So they want to know your high and the low. So you had $5 million in the account 3 years ago. It's still open. Guess what? You have to notify the IRS. And so you've no longer got $5 million in it because it seemed to go away. But, of course, it's been $5 million, so the IRS wants to know the high and the low. And if they don't, like I said, the penalties can be so high that it makes less sense to keep the money than just to write a check to the IRS. And that's when you're going to have to negotiate with the IRS to take less than they can take, which sometimes they're more amicable than others. Depends on who you're negotiating with. On the IRS side, it depends upon who's negotiating for you. That's why it's good to get a good quality attorney to represent you and take care of you. Speaking of great attorneys, myself, yes. This is Joseph Bryan. I'm the People's Advocate, also nicknamed Joe Lawyer. If you have any questions, you want to come in for a private consultation, we will discuss it. Give us a call at 954-320-6940. 954-320-6940. If you have a question you want to get off your chest today and get an answer today, give us a call at 888-565-1470. Once again, I've got some exciting things happening here today. The second half of the show, we're bringing in Imad Salem. Imad Salem is an American patriot who risked his life to bring down the Al-Qaeda, who attacked the World Trade Center back in 1993. And as a consequence, the father and the man who's the religious leader of Al-Qaeda is sitting in our prisons doing 120 years, just where he belongs. He may be blind and bouncing into walls from time to time, but he's ours, and we've got him on lockdown. And considering he's sitting in a specific room and he only gets an hour out every day, one would think that eyesight's not a big deal for him. You know, he doesn't have to see where he's going. Anyways, it's an exciting day today. You know, since last time we were together, there's some things that have been going on, and it kind of upsets me. You know what the word coincidence means? It's when two unrelated things happen, and it's a coincidence. You know, Lois Lerner, our IRS Woman of the Year, seems that not only did she have her hard drive crashed, it seems like everybody that participated in the alleged scheme to defraud the American public and attack the right-leaning not-for-profits, seems that all of their computers crashed as well. No emails on their computers. I'm waiting for them to find out, because they did actually have a backup drive that was created and did exist and I'm just trying to find out who actually has it. I bet you that one crashed too. One or two things, coincidence. But also she tells her people to use instant messaging since it's not recorded and can't be given oversight as required by law. We're getting to three coincidences. At this point in time, I'm beginning to think that Lois is a scumbag. I don't really care. If she was attacking the Liberals, I'd feel the same way. It doesn't really matter. The IRS is not a toy to be played with. You don't use it to go after and audit a congressman. You don't use it to go after and silence a minority or a majority. It's an abuse of power. I'm waiting, and I'm sure within my lifetime I'll find out if the White House was intimately involved with Lois. If Lois Lerner is a scuzzbucket and she turns out to be good friends with the White House, or better yet, the White House, when they leave the White House, gives her a, what do you call that when you get everybody's free of all charges? Oh, amnesty, right. Gives her amnesty before he leaves. If Obama gives her amnesty before he leaves office, then I'll believe that he was instrumental in undermining the American way and using the IRS to do it. I don't know he did. But I know at this point in time that there's too many coincidences at this point in time not to believe that there's a cover-up and that Lois Lerner was heavily involved in undermining the American way. And being a patriot, loving the American way of life, I resent it when someone uses their powers to abuse their rights. I've said time and time again, in the old days, we would tar and feather them. What is tar and feathering? Let's just picture we boil a bunch of tar that we would use to put paper on the roof so we'd make it rainproof. We'd dip her a little bit in it. Then we'd roll her around in a bunch of foul feathers. And then we put her on a big piece of stick and we would race her out of town. Now that's back in the centuries past. We don't do that anymore, although we should. Do you think people would be so quick to abuse power if they thought that was an option? Unfortunately, that would cause third-degree burns or worse. And she'd probably be disfigured for the rest of her life, just as she's disfigured the American way. And, she's very upset that we're thinking about calling her up to Congress and finding her in contempt. It's un-American, according to her attorney. Well, I think it's un-American for the IRS to abuse its power and attack the little man, the big man, or any man, or woman, or child. I think that most people working for the IRS are deserving of love, respect, and attention. However, there are certain people who have, for political reasons, for political gain, may have abused their positions, and that's unacceptable. So that's coming out in the news, and I find that pretty shocking. And I don't know why anybody would be shocked that the Ukrainian airline, the one that was leaving through Ukraine and got blown to shite, was in Malaysia. Poor guys only have 16, 18 planes, and they're down to. I don't know if they can stay in business much longer, especially considering making bad decisions and the people they hire and the people that make decisions. I mean, quite candidly, although I would like to see the airports open, I'm not very shocked that they said, hey, listen, let's stop flying into Ben Gurion because it might be a problem. Well, I don't think it's that much of a problem, but I think if things are flying at an airport consistently, I think it's a good idea to stop flying there. The sort of way that, every time you open up the door, you get punched in the face. I'd say don't open the door. Don't hit your head against the wall if it hurts. It's a bad idea. Don't do it if it hurts. Once again, I think that's not funny, but it is. It's very funny. Once again, we got to see what's going to happen in this next elections. As a patriot, I love the fact that this country doesn't require you to vote. There's no poll tax. There's no, if you don't vote, we're going to take away your right to drive. However, I think that citizens of the United States really don't take advantage of their right to vote. Don't really want to get involved and figure out what's going on. They feel like me, that they're just a peon, and that they don't really result in anything in the world. But that's not true. Your vote counts. Your vote should be counted. And 16% of the society should not be making a decision who the President of the United States is. And that's just the way it is. I think that 85% of Americans should vote, not less than 50. I think it's an insult to our forefathers who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Someday on here, I'll take the time to read it out loud to you. But you might want to look it up. Go on the internet, Declaration of Independence. Read what's written there. See what we came from. See where we're heading. Ooh, that's a scary thought. Where are you heading? Anyways, my counterpart, my tax attorney, couldn't make it. She's been busy dealing with the tax problems of the universe. Once again, IRS makes it a challenge, and as a consequence, she makes a good living. But we were talking about asset protection, and I told you how the IRS had taken that away from you. Because what happens now is you're declaring all your bank accounts overseas where you are a signer or hold a beneficial interest in that account. And now that can be discovered as post-judgment, and people can begin to go through a lot of your offshore assets that in the past, because of the way discovery is generally done, that kind of information wouldn't be available to you. It's unfortunate. And now you're finding yourself with the government getting the information, and now that can be provided to your creditors. Once again, a lot of your offshore banking ideas to avoid creditors and to keep money safe from harm's way, I think as of July 1st, 2014 is gone. But it's not shocking. Bit by bit, inch by inch, we're losing some of our rights because the laws don't get drafted to give you rights. When was the last time you got a right given to you by law? I think the Bill of Rights was the last one I know about, but they don't. You don't write a law that gives you more power. You write a law that defines things and limits things, and that's just the way it is. I'm kind of shocked that the government of California thought it was necessary to legislate whether or not you should be out there having full contact sports. I think that if you're going to go that far, you might as well go ahead and outlaw it. Because quite candidly, you got this mushy stuff sitting in a ball of water inside of a head. And it doesn't really matter how many times you get hit. It can be cumulative in the sense that you get hit 27 times, and by the 27th time, you've done enough damage. But it only takes one good hit for a nice, nasty concussion to affect you the rest of your life. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Rugby, football, as in American football, and many other sports are dangerous just in the nature of the game. And there's no question that I would prefer, if I had a son, that he would be doing soccer. And you can still get concussions in soccer, but it's a lot more of a running around game, kicking, and much more of an aerobic exercise. And don't misunderstand me, I would probably want my son to do kickboxing or some other form of martial arts. Aikido if he's young, judo, which we're having a judo champion come in a few minutes. Yes, Imad Salim is coming in, and he was a judo champion. Once again, there's lots of different things that can harm you in life, including eating too much sugar. That's called type 2 diabetes. So, keep it in mind that I don't really see where the government's ever going to be part of the help. It is good to have attorneys out there that sue. And if the decision is that it's negligent to do certain things, people would change their procedures and policies based upon not trying to be sued. And yes, they'll be talking to their attorneys. But for the state to go ahead and start to legislate middle schools and secondary schools and set forth certain standards, I don't know. I think that's the Department of Education. And the Department of Education section on sports, I think it should be regulated through the school system, and the state legislature should step off. But that's just my opinion. Once again, I'm somewhat controversial because I'm the people's advocate, and I'm thinking, what's best for the people, not necessarily what's best for the politicians who can say, rah, rah, I did something today. Tallahassee is not known for getting too many things through the committees of any substance. And quite candidly, they seem to only agree on criminal cases where they want to go ahead and lengthen the time you spend in jail, which is good because I guess we make more tax dollars for that, and somebody gets paid money, so it's good. If you're in the prison system, you make more money if they're staying in jail longer. It's always good. But I don't think that that's the American way. I don't think we should be the number one country in the world with the most amount of people in prison. I think that we should have more people out on the street and find other ways to curb their behavior, limit their action, put them into a structured situation. Don't let them just sit at home or have free time on their hands. But sitting in a jail at $44,000 to $48,000 a year per person, man, I'd rather take $48,000 and sit on my duff, except I'm not really interested in being told what I can do and what I can't do. But then again, I'm living in America, and as we create more and more laws, there's lots of people to tell us what we can do and can't do. And remember that this is the People's Advocate. If you will have any questions for us today, it's 888-565-1470. If you want to, you can listen to us live on WWNNradio.com. You can tweet us. You can do lots of different things with us. We're here for you. If you want to set up an appointment, please give us a call at 954-320-6940. The People's Advocate's there to help you. We do such things as foreclosure defense, bankruptcy, debt issues. We also handle small businesses, and we give good advice on your tax issues. We have a great tax attorney to sit down and go over and give you business strategies and represent your business should you be finding yourself in a situation where you need to restructure things or reevaluate things so you pay a little bit less to Uncle Sam. There's nothing wrong with organizing yourself to pay your fair amount, but your fair amount is not necessarily what you owe, but necessarily what you decide you owe based upon your strategies that you employ. Remember that also that asset protection is a misnomer, and one of the most important things to keep in mind is that you're making an estate plan. You're coming up with trusts. You're structuring ownership of things so they can pass without ever having to go through probate. And at the same time, you may have inchoate or incomplete control of your assets, but at the same time, they're protected from those creditors that may be in the future. They may exist today. Once again, it's how you structure it and how you do your estate planning that gives you the most amount of asset protection. Once again, we're going to go on to break right now. And once again, give us a call at 888-565-1470. We'll get back to you in the short term.
Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. You are listening to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida attorney Joseph Bryan. He keeps you informed about your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure and wants you to be part of his show. Call 888-565-1470 and help him help you get informed. Now, back to our show.
Hi there, this is the People's Advocate Hour, and this is attorney Joseph Bryan from the People's Advocate. Once again, if you're looking for help with your legal issues, we give a free consultation. Give us a call at 954-320-6940, 954-320-6940. We're here for you. We give you a free consultation, discuss your issues, see if there's something that you can do about your problem, what are the options available to you, come up with the best strategy for you. Sometimes you retain me, sometimes you don't. It all comes down to what's in the best interest of you, because the People's Advocate should be looking out for the best interest of the client. You know, the nice thing is when you sit down with an attorney and you're thinking about getting representation, as long as you don't have somebody else in the room, the attorney-client privilege will attach, and anything you discuss with him, including wanting to kill your wife, is private information unless you really mean it. And if you really mean it, then the cops have to be called, because guess what? Attorney-client privilege does not protect the attorney from not turning you in if you're planning to commit a crime imminently. Complaining about your wife generally is not a crime. Talking about how you want to go about ending her life is, and the attorney cannot co-conspire with you and listen to you and not tell on you. He is required. You know, that's kind of funny. You see these movies with the consigliaries, with the mobsters, and they have this attorney. And quite candidly, these attorneys often are shirking the line of protection, and they got to be careful, because there's a difference between being the People's Advocate and the People's co-conspirator. Now, for anybody that's confused by the name of the People's Advocate, making it look like we are possibly this right-wing Tea Party organization, oh, heck no. Although I do think Tea Parties are patriots, I even think that the weird left-wing liberals are also patriots in their own way. They just want to mold America into a concept that I don't think the Founding Fathers had in mind. Who knows, maybe they did, and they just didn't tell us. But we can only look to what they wrote, and what they wrote in articles, letters, and interpretations that have been done on our Constitution. And America is one of the greatest countries in the world, and there's a reason for that, because we don't have our Bill of Rights as statutes that can be adjusted at the whim of a president, at the whim of a Congress group. No, it's Constitution puts the Bill of Rights as those little 8 amendments to the Constitution of the United States, and to change it requires a majority of the Congress. And if I remember correctly, it's 75% of the states have to sign off of any changes to the Constitution. So therefore, the only way I can ever see the U.S. Constitution being modified, according to some of the more extreme lefties, is if they suspend the Constitution and overtake the government in some sort of form of dictatorship, and ultimately suspend our Bill of Rights. It seems too extreme, too unbelievable. God, I hope it's a fantasy or a nightmare, but not a reality. No, I like the Bill of Rights. They don't exist in any other country as part of their Constitution. And therefore, the United States is unique, and with all of its problems, with all of its naysayers, one cannot say anything less than the United States is the best country in the world. That's why everybody wants to come here. Today, Imad will be coming in and we'll be talking about what's going on around the world. It doesn't seem to be very important to Obama to be in the White House. He's out fundraising. I hope he makes a lot of money fundraising. Hope he gives it to a lot of people other than himself. It'd be good. It's all good to raise money and give it to somebody else, especially if it's for kids, single mothers, government agencies that deserve it, like the IRS. Anyways, that was a joke. Just the same, Imad will be coming in and we'll be discussing things going on in Israel, the Ukraine, ISIS, Egypt, and what's going on in the world around us. It does seem to be that there's some big things going on, and how does it affect America? It does. Listen, there's a war in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, and 2 Americans were killed on the Israeli side, fighting in, I think it was the Golani unit, which is like infantry, Rangers. Very proud Americans, and Jews who moved to Israel and joined the military to represent. I remember during the initial of the Iraq War, the Americans were having a lot of problem with collateral damage. Collateral damage is sort of like what's happening to the Palestinians who put their kids up in front. I heard a story from one Israeli soldier how a terrorist had grabbed a baby and was holding him across his body as he came running at the soldiers, shooting and firing off his weapons, and hoping that the Israelis would hold their fire and get themselves shot. Well, unfortunately, that's true. They did hold their fire, and several Israeli soldiers did get shot. However, the sooner or later, someone's going to get a beat on you and take you down. So that's basically what happened to that poor little terrorist, and the baby was returned to its parent. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of collateral damage happening over there, but the truth of the matter is that it's one of the highly densest populations in the world, and you can't really move down the street without stepping on each other. And if you've got a terrorist organization called Hamas saying that if you leave your homes, we'll take care of you after the war, telling the civilians not to move out, stay there in the way, creating all sorts of situations where civilians are being used as shields against the enemy being Israel at that time. They're firing from hospitals, they're loading up mosques with weapons. Even the UN's getting involved. Several UN schools were found with rockets in them, and instead of destroying them or removing them, they returned them to the terrorist organization. So doesn't that make it that the UN has now become a co-conspirator with a terrorist organization? UNRWA. I never really liked them very much. UNWRA. Always thought that they were a corrupt organization and didn't know how to stay out of other people's situation and just to give the services that they're supposed to. But I'm not shocked. I'm surprised that they don't have manufacturing shops inside the schools or underneath the schools that are run by the UN. UN is definitely not Americans' friend. America's spending way too much money taking care of an organization that doesn't ultimately have any moral guidelines. You know, it's really shocking. You know, you see what's going on in Syria. You know, listen, if the Israelis were Syrians, this would be really, Gaza would be easy. You know what they'd do? They'd carpet bomb. You know what carpet bombing is? It's basically what you do is you take a grid, and then you just line up the artillery, and then you just keep on hitting it every 50 feet in front until there's nothing but holes in the ground. I'm sure that if the Israelis would just line up their artillery, forget about the tanks, just line up the artillery and just carpet bomb Gaza Strip, it'd be very quiet in one day. Of course, that would be crimes against humanity because that's how it works. You know, you just can't do that. Oh, unless you're an Arab doing it to an Arab. So once again, we have a situation of duplicity in the way in which we treat people, because quite candidly, Syria's out there mass murdering their own people, and I haven't really heard anything from the UN Human Rights Organization at all. However, the Israelis are trying to do as little damage as possible. Quite candidly, 650 people out of a 1.8 million, I think, is very limited collateral damage. And I think for an what do you call it, the state member Kerry is kind of mistaken when he talks about pinpoint. You know, quite candidly, I mean, I love this country, but the numbers are 40 to 80,000 in collateral damage in Iraq. And that's because, you know, we weren't designed to fight in places like Gaza, which is highly intense populations with littler infrastructure in the form of roads, you know, where houses are so close together you can get a donkey cart down the middle of the street. So, once again, we're going to go on break in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk in the next time. We're going to talk about world stuff as it affects Americas. Once again, this is the People's Advocate Hour. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. You don't like what I have to say, you're welcome to have your opinion, because this is the People's Advocate. Once again, give us a call at 888-565-1470. Have a good day. Once again, it seems that we're going to stay online a little bit longer here, so let's go back to talking about some other things today. It's always good to be here in Boca Raton. We are the People's Advocate Hour. If you'd like to give us a call in at 888-565-1470. This is the People's Advocate Hour.
Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. Amp2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.tv. Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. You are listening to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida Attorney Joseph Bryan. He keeps you informed about your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure and wants you to be part of his show. Call 888-565-1470 and help him help you get informed. Now, back to our show.
Good day. This is Joseph Bryan back with you. This is the People's Advocate Hour, and we're on 1470 AM. Once again, we're glad to have you here. If you have any questions specific to your legal issues or you want to comment on something we're talking about, feel free to give us a call at 888-565-1470. We're here for you. Once again, if you want, you can also watch us at being streamed live on the internet at wwnnradio.com. Once again, I'm glad to have you here today. We were talking a little bit earlier about the IRS and issues with the IRS. We were talking about Imad Salem coming in and talking about international stuff. Once again, he's stuck in that lovely traffic where people don't seem to know how to drive here in South Florida. It's shocking, you know. That's when you want to slow things down, just stay in the far left lane and go 50. Slow everybody else down. It's what we want you there for. That's just a joke? No, it's not. It's serious. Once again, we're glad that you're here in Broward County and Palm Beach, because if you go down to Miami-Dade, the numbers say it's about 48% of the people driving down there don't have a license and don't have insurance. That's why uninsured motorist insurance is really something you want here in South Florida, because there's a good chance that someone's going to hit you, especially if you're in Miami-Dade. They don't have a license and they don't have insurance, but they speak better Spanish than you. Si es verdad. Okay, so once again, let's talk the truth. Let's talk what's going on. You know, I've watched what's been going on here in our nation, and it sometimes scares me. I don't know where we're going and where our leadership is taking us, but hopefully it's not H-E-L-L in a handbasket. Am I allowed to use the word hell? I don't think that that's one of those words. It's nobody's 4 letters. I know there's a few other 4-letter words I'd like to use when describing where we go. Hopefully they won't be true. They're just fear-mongering. Once again, this is the strongest government in the world, and it can be used for good and for bad. Once again, we look at what's going on here in the law. You know, we have a bankruptcy code, and the exemptions for the bankruptcy code, they give you $1,000 of personal property that you get to keep. Well, this would be a lot of property back in 1970. Today, $1,000. Gosh, $1,000 goes so fast in this world. $1,000. Let's see. I can buy myself kitchen equipment. I guess I could basically go out there to a Faith Farm or Goodwill and furnish my home for under $1,000, maybe $500, $600. Hopefully, I have a friend with a truck, so I don't have to come up with the money with the moving costs. What else can I do with that $1,000? Buy myself some clothes at Goodwill. But once again, the exemptions are really inordinately low. They give you a $1,000 car exemption. I don't know about you, but go out and find a car for $1,000 that can get you from point A to point B without costing you another $1,000 in repairs. I don't see how that works, unless we're talking about when you go out and buy a car and you put $5,000 down, and the moment you drive it off the lot, you're upside down on the car another $1,000 or $2,000. Then that exemption comes to be fair. Because quite candidly, you don't have what your money's worth. It sucks to be you sometimes. And that's why when you get into situations, you've made a bunch of bad choices, you find yourself inundated with debt, you don't know what you're going to do about it. It's good to sit down with a counselor of law who knows about debt, who can advise you about bankruptcy, because bankruptcy is not always the best answer. There is sometimes some options. You know, I had this older woman come in to see me, and she had close to $50,000-$60,000 worth of debt. However, the reason why she had the $50,000-$60,000 worth of debt is that she became disabled and wasn't able to go to work. And she had no savings except for a little bit of a pension and a little bit of IRA. And she said, well, you know, I'd like to file for bankruptcy to get rid of this debt. And yeah, she fits the mark. She could do it. She's on disability. She could get rid of this debt. But the truth of the debt is uncollectible. You know, why file for bankruptcy when you can offer them 5 cents on the dollar to go away when you give them a full disclosure, and it shows them that if you go to bankruptcy they get nothing, but if they agree they'll get something, and if they want to mess with you and file a lawsuit, well, they're not going to collect. You don't have any assets for them to take. So with that in mind, she felt very empowered. And now she's wanting to, on her own, to simply contact the 5 debts that she has that are large. And she's going to offer them a little bit of money, explain to them that she's disabled, that she doesn't have any other assets or source of income for which to liquidate, or that they could try to liquidate, and see if they want to settle. You know, sometimes the bank has to be approached 6 or 7 times till they finally get the message that there's nothing to be gotten except what you're willing to offer. And sometimes they settle. And sometimes they settle for as low as 5 cents on the dollar. It depends on how much money it is and how old the debt is. Remember that if you owe a debt and you haven't paid on that debt for 5 years, and it's pursuant to a contract for credit or otherwise, it's uncollectible. There's a statute of limitations on promissory notes. There's a statute of limitations on promises to pay on credit cards, and it's 5 years. And once those 5 years are up that you've been in default, they no longer can collect on it. You know, there's a lot of credit agencies out there, collection agencies out there, that are willing to call you on the phone and try to collect monies that they don't have any legal right to enforce. But some people out there are gullible. Some people don't know their rights, and they start making a payment. All they have to do is make one payment, and then the statute of limitations moves to that first payment, and now there's another 5 years to wait until it's uncollectible. But if you'd only not paid it for another year, it would have become uncollectible. So make sure you know when was the last time you made a payment on something, because quite candidly, sometimes making a payment is not the answer. Sometimes it's in your better interest to not pay. Once again, we're going to go ahead and, at this point in time, and get ready for Imad Salem to come in and discuss the current situation. He has a few comments about what Obama is doing or not doing in the situation, a little few conversations about Kerry and how things are going to affect here in America. In the meantime, once again, we're going to go on break, and we'll be back in just a few moments with Imad Salem.
Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. Amp2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5400. 5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. AMP2.tv, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.tv. Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. You are listening to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida Attorney Joseph Bryan. He keeps you informed about your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure and wants you to be part of his show. Call 888-565-1470 and help him help you get informed. Now, back to our show.
All right, so we're back to the People's Advocate Hour. Since Wednesday, very little has happened. A plane was shot out of the sky. Obama's been raising funds, having fun. Kerry's running around the world trying to do peace. ISIS is taking over Iraq and Syria. Oh, I understand that Israel and the terrorist group Hamas are at war. According to the Israelis, they call it a war. My understanding is that now that they're going for Sharia law in the new Levant covered by the ISIS, all Christians have been told that they have to pay a Christian tax, an infidel tax, to ISIS or they'll be executed. So as of right now, most Iraqi Christians, which were very few to begin with, because most of them started leaving when the Shia took over Iraq under the tutelage of the American government, and their churches were getting bombed as an ongoing basis. A lot of them moved out. Well, what's left in that area that's controlled by ISIS are packing up and moving out and walking away from centuries of family, property, businesses, basically destroying their lives and leaving an area because of this new implementation of Sharia law. Sharia law has many different interpretations as to what Sharia law is, but it's Islam has a history of subjugating non-members of the Sunni or the Shia belief. The Shias do it to the Sunni do it to the Shia. The Shia and the Sunni do it to the Druze. And they also keep the Kurds down, which is another religion, or nationality, depending on how you look at it. Quite candidly, the whole reason why there's a conflict with Israel is because they can't accept the fact that a non-Muslim is telling a Muslim what to do. Once again, that's against their beliefs. It's against their philosophies. So here we have Christians leaving the Palestinian territories because they can't seem to get their rights there. Another Sunni group's taking over Iraq and Syria, telling the Christians to pay up or get out. The old history of kidnapping the Christian girls and having them married to a Muslim to convert to Islam is back. An old practice being brought to be a new practice in Iraq today. The threats to American interests are all over the place. Once again, it's a very interesting week. And today we have here Imad Salem, who's coming in to talk to us. We've got a great new poster for his book. Once again, I think you have that saved on the as well. So once again, Imad.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Good to see you. Love that traffic here in South Florida, huh?
That's quite all right. It is really hectic, but you know what? I'm glad I made it.
Me too. Without you here, it would have been a much less interesting day. We were waiting for you patiently. Unfortunately, we don't have as much time as we planned, so we're going to have to bring you back again. I'm sure we'll have a chance.
That would be my privilege.
And we were just talking about ISIS in Iraq.
Yes.
And I understand you had a few things to talk about what's going on. I understand that they're kicking out the Christians.
Well, unfortunately, I would like to explain first what is ISIS and what they are trying to create. The ideology of ISIS is fanatic as usual, and it is the extension of Al-Qaeda.
Now, fanatics means they don't dance in public?
No, they don't. They just dance with bombings and killing and blowing up. And what they're trying to create is the Khilafah.
Khilafah?
The Khilafah.
Doesn't sound
which
nice.
In English, they call it the Caliphate. But unfortunately, most of the media people, they don't know what is the Caliphate is. The Khilafah is the people who will follow Prophet Muhammad's traditions, which they call it Sunnah.
Right.
So the word Khilafah means the followers of Prophet Muhammad.
Now, the English translation, that's caliphate, right?
Khilafah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's the Arabic word, but the caliphate is what they're referring to.
Correct.
And they actually tried to do that before, haven't they? This is not the first time.
Not the first time, but this is the first time they succeed to create a big area in Iraq and Syria. They are a group of Sunni people who's trying to follow these traditions. However, these traditions or these Khilafah they are trying to create, it is not a solid, concrete Islamic rules, because there is two people who gathered the Hadith, which the Prophet Muhammad's traditions, and that is one of them is Al-Mukhtar al-Sahah, and the other one is they both were started 183 years after Prophet Muhammad's death.
So can you trust it?
That is why I cannot trust it, because there is so many Khilafah rules
And interpretations?
and interpretation being inherited for 183 years.
So it's sort of like a truth being twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools.
Unfortunately, that's right. And you can see that most of this hadith, or not most, I will say some of this hadith and some of these Khilafah rules, not as accurate as the Quran said.
Now, this is all interesting, but how does this even affect us in America? I mean, most Americans are sitting back and saying, let them kill each other, let God separate the good from the bad, leave me out of this.
That's not going to happen, because once they put their claws down there, they will create their training camps again, like they had it in Sudan before, like they had it in Afghanistan before, and then they will export terrorism to us.
Because they have Americans working there, don't they?
They do have, unfortunately, some
US citizens.
brainwashed Americans and
Canadians.
That's all
Brits.
nations. A lot of European.
But that means they have these passports where they don't have to come with a visa. They can just come to our airport with their Canadian or English passports and hand them at the gate and get a 90-day visa, being able to come here freely unless they're on some sort of watch group.
That's correct, and that will put a lot of load and responsibility on our CIA and our FBI.
And you have a lot of trust in them, I assume. That was sarcasm. That's okay. You're supposed to laugh.
Okay.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. You know you don't want to go there.
Okay.
So listen, do you think that our man in the White House is taking care of biz?
Well, our man, Mr. Barack Hussein, has a different...
Wait a second, Barack Hussein? Oh, you mean Barack Hussein Obama? Okay.
You're trying to open another show now.
I know. Well, we'll bring you back for that show.
That would be my pleasure. Mr. Barack Hussein Obama has a different backbone than most of the American John Does. And I explain that with pictures in my website, which is
emadsalem.org. So that emadsalem.org.
That's correct. I explained by the pictures what is that backbone coming from, and it's coming from Kenya, coming from Somalia, coming from Obugo, his brother. And
so you've seen that movie 2012 or 2016 and America by De Souza.
No, I did not have
the opportunity to see those movies. You got to watch them. They're exciting stuff.
Yeah, I did not see it. So, unfortunately, Mr. Barack Hussein
Obama,
trying hardly, spending a lot of effort to change the American backbone to have a new America. Not a leader, not the superpower, not what we immigrated to. I immigrated 30 years ago to United States of America because this is the best country on the planet.
It is the best country on the planet.
It is, thank God it is the best.
But what makes it the best country in the country, of the world?
Because we have the democracy, we have, which is sometimes now with Mr. Barack Hussein start to be violated. We start to lose our privacy, we start to lose our life style and liberty, and I understand that intelligence community has to do their job to protect us, but there is a very thin line between protecting us and spying on us.
Yes. Now, let me ask you a question. So you're saying to me that we have something to fear from ISIS. Yeah, terrorism is something that we can work with.
Yeah.
You know, the Israelis have worked with it for 48 years, 50 years. The British have learned to work with it with the IRA and now the modern radicals, Islamic radicals. Iraq has been living with bombs going off all over the place. I think America could survive a little bit of explosion here and there, don't you, or no?
Sadly, through my work undercover with the FBI, and some of it with the CIA as well, I noticed that we handcuff our agents and we ask them to protect us. We handcuff them by the law. The law is very restricted, very harsh on these agents, and for them to keep their jobs, they
racial profiling.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, but I don't know too anybody other than a Islamist fanatical who's going to strap a bomb and walk in with a group of innocent people and blow themselves up yet. Oh. Now, when we get the Christian fanatics doing it, then we'd have to probably change. But I don't think it's racial profiling when you say, here are the qualities that we keep on finding the bad boys doing, and anybody fits within that genre should be looked at.
It is no longer a religion. It is ideology, and this ideology, unfortunately, is being through the internet spread to hijack our freedom. And
you're a practicing Muslim.
Yes, I am practicing.
And you're proud to be
I am proud to be practicing Muslim, and I am.
And you're observant. You pray, and you maintain a Muslim lifestyle.
Thank God, yes, I do, and I am proud to be a Muslim in the United States of America, and I never been stopped to practice my religion.
So when you look at what these guys are coming up with, you must almost be like irritated.
I know that these guys they know where is the entry to the country, and we see the thousands of people keep coming, and they keep coming from Mexico, they keep coming from here. It takes one of them to walk into America with a dirty bomb, and then we have a catastrophe on our hand, unfortunately.
Yep. Now we just have 1 minute left, but I'm going to bring you back. Is that okay with you?
That would be my honor. Thank you.
We'll talk about a lot more things that affect America, because once again, knowledge is power. And understanding, first of all, the way in which a typical average living Muslim thinks versus somebody who's a radicalized warmongering or evildoer is helpful information. Also, realizing that we don't live in a cocoon. America is a cocoon. But quite candidly, it doesn't take much to break open that cocoon and influx us with some of the evil ways that are being seen around the world.
That's true. Unfortunately, our democracy opened our heart and our law and our border.
All right, so listen, when you come back next time, we're going to probably talk about our president, Barack Hussein Obama, and talk about what he's doing around the world or what he's not doing around the world, and what effects our inaction or lack of intelligent engagement could cause harm to us Americans.
So you think one show will be enough for that?
We'll start with one and work our way from there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Once again, this is the People's Advocate Hour. Give us a call at 954-320-6940. We're here to help you out. Get a free consultation. Look forward to hearing from you. Once again, this is Joseph Bryan at the People's Advocate. Have a wonderful day.
You have been listening to the People's Advocate Hour with Attorney Joseph Bryan. Join Attorney Joseph Bryan next week on the People's Advocate as you need to know your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure. You can also contact our office at 954-889-7443 for a free consultation. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.